welcome to the next episode of Revolutionary Talk. We're on to our second month of Wellness Truths Exposed. So for this one, eating whole foods is better than drinking juiced foods. This is one I've heard quite a bit. Feel like sometimes it's true, sometimes it isn't, but what comes to mind when you hear this?
When it comes to mind, I think about juicing, like, I don't know, apples or oranges. Let's say oranges. Let's talk about apples and oranges. No, but it's like, say you eat 100 oranges. Could you eat 100 oranges in an hour?
Probably not.
I couldn't either.
No.
Could you drink 100 oranges worth of juice in an hour?
Oh yeah, I love juice.
So I think that's where the debate sticks to me is like, juices kind of have the micronutrients in them as opposed to all the like husk, the fiber, and all that stuff that you might not need, where sometimes like the juice is just like you want vitamin C because you're sick. It's that simple and readily available. Not to mention like, cost sometimes with juice, but.
Yeah. What comes to mind for you?
I mean, when I think about juices, like the conventional juices, when you go to the store, a lot of them can have a lot of other additives, especially
True.
like sweeteners added to them. So you're like, I don't know if this is actually beneficial for my body because they're just extracting one thing out of it and then adding a bunch of other things to it to enhance the taste, perhaps.
Yeah. I mean, that's whole foods in general too, or a lot of foods
True.
too, is that they just add so much fillers and you're not eating ingredients anymore. You're so far away from what you're actually seeking in that.
Yeah, because our food is so nutrient depleted, it seems like at this point. So enriched,
Yeah.
bad.
Not good.
No.
And even say if someone were to juice their own fruits and veggies, are they missing out on anything that they might get just eating the whole food?
There's definitely, you mentioned like detoxes and stuff. There's definitely a good time to do juice cleanses, but I think if that's something that you're trying to rely on as a daily regimen throughout your entire year, and just getting your, thinking like your nutrients from your fruits and vegetables you're getting into your body that way. I do think there's things missing because it's the fruit or vegetable is designed with a cornucopia of nutrients, micro and macros. Micro?
Macro, micro, yeah.
So, you've got the peel that's got a lot of great things like fiber in it, and then the fruit, and then even the seeds have some great qualities to them too.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because essentially the micronutrients are your foundation or your concrete, and then the macros build on top of it. And granted, if you, like you said, kind of the flip of it, if you're sick, you're gonna want all the micronutrients like the vitamin C's, the vitamin A's, the vitamin E's, but if you're sick, your digestive tract might not be working very well. So then all that stuff gets stuck in your stomach, whereas the juices are readily absorbed in your stomach, and they don't, stomach doesn't have to crunch them down; they just slide in and absorb all the way through.
Yeah. It's one of those interesting ones. I think a lot of our recent talks were a little more black and white as far as exposing things. This one has some pros and cons to it. The other thing I think there's some benefits with juicing is like I get tired of just eating whole foods. You can only eat so much
For sure.
fruits and veggies,
Yeah.
but if you want to get some of those benefits, I'll sit there and drink a whole juice and never get tired of it really.
Drinking juices too, it's also like it hits a sweet, kind of like the sweet tooth side. If I'm craving sugar or something, it's like, let's grab a juice because like pineapple juice or fresh squeezed orange juice is so sweet. Yeah, or even like Ninja Red.
Yeah.
Ninja Red with Young Living essential oils is fire. It's a very good like quick little like, ooh, okay, that's a little
So
bit
good.
sugary.
Yeah. Well, then not to mention all the money that we, if you wanted to go the whole fruit, juicing route, how much money you end up spending doing that and the time.
The time is where, like, because every juice you make, you gotta switch it, or you gotta clean it.
Yeah.
You gotta take it apart. You gotta clean it. You gotta get rid of all the husk. All the husk has to go down the drain, or like, it's a mess. There's so much.
Yeah. There's only so much time in a day, so.
Yeah, that's just sometimes whenever I juice, I'm like, is it worth it to buy the juice and spend a couple extra dollars than it is to buy whatever I'm juicing? Because at some point it's like I'm saving $1 or $2 and know it's not fresh, but then at the convenience of having it readily available,
Yeah, it's, I don't know, sometimes I think it's definitely worth buying the Ninja Red and saving the time.
For sure.
And the
Always.
mess. So I definitely agree with that one. So even if somebody were to like take the whole fruit or veggie and break it down, is there any lost benefit in that case if it's the whole ingredient?
I mean, I think the fruit and vegetable, having the whole array, the whole variety, the whole spectrum, I guess, of what it was designed to have, is, I mean, yeah, if you take down, like, you can compare this to the pharmaceutical industry in a way, too, because they've taken plants, found the active ingredients in certain plants, and then replicated it in a lab so they can patent that chemical, that natural occurring chemical. But since they can't patent nature, they synthesize it so that they can in a lab, and that's in comparison why the pharmaceutical drugs have side effects compared to the plant that naturally has that chemical constituent occurring in it. And because it's part of that plant, naturally it's balanced out with all the other constituents, and so our bodies never experience negative side effects from plant substances, natural substances that are pure and not altered.
That's interesting too. That reminds me, like, it's crazy how, say you would take some spinach and just cook it for a little bit and break it down.
Yeah.
How it changes the properties and it allows for different benefits than if you were to eat it raw. And I mean, it's similar to other veggies too. Like in spinach case, it might be easier on your stomach, and it could be the same thing, but how you handle it can completely change its value.
I think you just hit the point there too. Just like overall, like the stomach, kind of like how much room you got and what you need.
Yeah.
Because if you're full and you ate just like a ton of protein, juice it on top of it. Get the rest of the nutrients.
Yeah.
If you're dieting and you haven't eaten a whole lot, eat the fillers. So eat the whole strawberries and fruits and pineapples to get the fillness.
Yeah.
True.
Our bodies need it. I mean, but then finding the good sourcing of those fruits and vegetables is a whole nother topic.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Oh, our soil. Sad. Anyway.
And that also reminds me of a recent episode where we, you mentioned how difficult it is eating whole foods and getting 2,000 calories in.
For sure.
And so it kind of gets me thinking, if you juice, you could down that easily and not feel very full. And
I wonder what it'd be like to juice 2,000 calories. That sounds like a wired jaw.
Wouldn't that be like a milkshake?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's juice. It has like, a juice is maybe 120 calories. Like, you'd have to throw, what is that, like 20 of those down a day? Could you imagine that? 20 juices?
Man.
I wonder what your blood sugar would be. I wonder if you're
I don't know. I don't think you would even have time to measure it because you'd be in the bathroom all day.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Your vitamin, you'd be so overloaded.
We have a test for you next week.
This is going to be a challenge. We're just going to line up juices and be like, knock them out.
Oh, man.
Do that with celery juice. See what happens.
I'm out. I'm out.
Cameraman's like, no way.
Don't try at home. All right, good stuff. A lot of pros and cons to it. Hopefully you got some good information from this one. Not everything's so black and white, but definitely some pros and cons with juicing or eating whole foods. Stay tuned next week, and we will discuss another truth.
Oh, let's go.